Create a 100K per year passive income through tax deeds here in 2026. We're going to talk about a no hype, simple math approach to creating a retirement income with tax deeds for 2026 and beyond. We're going to plant the seeds. I'm going to walk you through some basic math on how this can be possible with a very conservative approach. This isn't the stock market. This isn't gambling. We're going to look at real assets like tax deeds that you can use to plant these seeds for 2026. So this is kind of exciting because it's a new year, right? Ambitions are high, and let's hit the ground running. By the end of this month, most people's New Year's ambitions will be gone. And, this isn't some sort of get rich quick pitch or pill that we're going to swallow. We want to do this step by step so that you can finally make a change in 2026 and beyond, and for the rest of your life, because the last thing I want for you is to have another year tick by without doing anything. So I've come up with a very simple formula you can follow. It's conservative. I'm going to walk you through it. And I've also, in my opinion, figured out why you probably haven't been getting success in real estate or the financial freedom you've been looking for. So I came up with something that I think is very effective that I'm going to walk you through here in today's live stream. So if we haven't met before, it is Dustin Hahn here, and this is the largest channel on Tax Lien Deed investing on YouTube. And we're pretty excited. We try to bring the most valuable Tax Lien Deed information to YouTube and to make this information accessible for everybody. So always below the video, we give away a totally free book to help you get started. And our goal is to give away more free information in our videos here than most people charge for. And I think we do a good job of that. So obviously, I'm not everybody's cup of tea. I think we have like a 94% approval rating on TrustPilot. No matter what we do, sometimes you can't please everybody. So this is a live stream. We're excited to be here today. Let me know on the stream here where you're tuning in from, your city and your state. I will fine tune the live stream here as we go. So let's see, we got Orange, Texas tuning in. So I will get to that in a few minutes as we go into this. But what I'd like to do is just have everybody here let me know where you're tuning in from and put in any questions that you might have. And I would love to customize the stream and help you guys make this stuff work. So I'm going to share my screen here right now, and I'm going to walk you through here this this freedom formula that I created. So at the end of the day, I've had a lot of insights over the last little bit. And one of those insights is, everything, all the information you want to learn how to do for pretty much anything is for free online. And we're going to talk about how to combat that here this year and really take it seriously. So check this out. I'm going to share my screen right now. And on the screen, you're going to see a very simple formula that I've come up with to create 100K per year passive for yourself through tax deed investing. So we're going to pop over here to my screen. Here we are. Perfect. Let's see. Can I move that over here? Bear with me. Here we go. Here we go. So check it out. I call this the $750,000 freedom formula. And this is a very conservative formula to help you retire on $100,000 per year. Now, the timeline on this is obviously, this is educational purposes. Individual results may vary, all that sort of fun stuff. I can't promise anything. And you have to take action. This depends on taking action. But what I have here is a conservative formula for you to follow and get started here in 2026. So basically, the premise is this. $750,000 can turn into $100,000 per year for life for yourself. With tax deeds, you can buy some of these properties up to 90% below market value. And, some of the prices may vary. Sometimes it's less, sometimes it's more. But if you go to enough tax deed auctions, what can end up happening is you will get good deals. Now, not every auction is going to be amazing. Sometimes they'll get bid up to market value. Sometimes the properties will get redeemed. However, what I can tell you is if you show up, you can get deals. So check this out. I'm going to be very, very conservative here with this formula. Now, for ourselves, we get way better deals than this, and I'm hoping you're going to as well. But I just want to be super conservative here. So here's how $750,000 can turn into 100 grand per year. Now, if you don't have 750,000, that's why we're doing tax deed investing, to make that money. So if you buy tax deeds at, say, 60% of market value, okay, so 60% of market value, that means $750,000 or $750,000 of purchasing price will get you $1.5 million in real estate, okay? And a paid off portfolio for yourself of $1.5 million in real estate, even at a modest 6 to 7% return, which is very, very conservative, will get you to $100,000 per year in passive income. That is no hype, no complicated math. That's not even taking into consideration appreciation every single year. And this can go a lot higher than that. This freedom that we want through real estate can be accomplished. And if you can buy $1.5 million in real estate for 60% of market value, which is very, very possible. You know, like I've purchased property up to 90% below market value. You can buy over-the-counter property for a couple $100. So there is a starting point here for everybody to take action. So depending on where you are right now, you might not have, you might not have a couple $100, or maybe you only have a couple $1,000. The point is that you need to start. And the faster you start, the faster this is going to go. Don't let the motivation fade away like it's going to do for most people. And that's what we're going to do here. Is I want to show you guys how to scoop up these properties and really how to change your life and create freedom and retirement through tax lien and deed investing. And I think I've boiled it down. I'm going to show you here in a couple seconds, kind of why I think most people have not done deals, because at the end of the day, there's like thousands of videos going back over 10 years on our site. Everybody gets the directory below here, and it has all the phone numbers for you to take action and the ABCs. We really give it all to you. And the question is, why haven't you done a deal? Why are you not making money in real estate? And we're going to dive deep into that here today. And I think the answer to that might shock you a little bit, and it might be a little bit uncomfortable. And we're going to dive into that. So for everybody joining us here right now, do me a favor. Let me know who's tuning in, where you're tuning in from, your city, state, any questions that you might have. So welcome everybody here. We have Michigan in the house. We have San Antonio, Texas, North Carolina. Good to see you guys. Live from New Jersey, Houston here. We have Houston trips coming up again as well. And, a lot of folks are like, oh, what's this guy's agenda? If you haven't met me before, if it works so good, why is he making YouTube videos? And, I never intended to be a YouTuber. We made a couple videos. They went viral. People wanted our information. And full transparency, we give away everything. And then if you ever want to come join us on a live auction trip or get help on deals, you can always schedule a call and we can work with you one-on-one. So that is a business for me as well. So we got Montreal here. Excellent. So guys, let us know who's here and where you're from. And we will continue to dive in and make 2026 count. Okay. This is only going to get harder the longer you wait. The best time to get started in real estate was 20 years ago. The second best time is today, here, right now. So I've been thinking about this for a long time, and I've been in this game this will be my 23rd year in real estate. So I thought about all the people who come through, and the truth is a lot of people don't succeed with tax deed investing. And I'm like, why? Because we give away all the information on our site as far as what you need to get started. We go on these live streams, we look at properties, we have everything. So I've realized it comes down to more than just information, right? Because everything you want to learn how to do is for free online. If you want to learn physics, if you want to learn how to fly an airplane, if you want to learn crypto, stocks, everything. If you want to learn how to get in shape, it's all there. So why aren't we all, jacked and shredded and millionaires and billionaires when everything is easier than ever, right? And a big part of it is a lack of discipline and just hopping from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next. And just because you're watching YouTube, there's a big difference between watching and doing. And this needs to be the year of doing for yourself. Literally, the first thing, like we say this every time, we have the National Tax Deed Directory here below, which has the contact information to all 1,500. All the simplest thing you can do is crack it open, call them, ask them when's the tax deed auction, and ask them, hey, where are your over-the-counter properties? Can I get the list? You can be started in 5 minutes. But the thing is most people don't do it. And so I came up with a new movement for 2026, and I'm going to share it with you guys here. And it is called the TFI operators, the Total Freedom Operators. And this is kind of going to be the operating system in 2026 that will ensure that you make this business work. And we put it here on the website. It's not linked yet, but basically it's going to be a small group of disciplined men and women who take full responsibility for wealth, health, family, and future. And this is on the site. It is a mission objective for everybody here to build wealth through real estate. And this is for people who and once again, this isn't a sales pitch. This is overall objective and movement that we want to do. And a total freedom operator wants to build generational wealth, strength, and discipline to provide for loved ones in our lives. And what ends up happening is most folks just don't put in the time or discipline. They are hopping from one strategy to another all the time. So a TFI operator, to create freedom in this business and create that $750,000 freedom plan, we want to master a proven system. Tax Liens and Deeds is a proven system. It has been around for 200 years. You know what? It's not flashy. It's a little bit boring, and you have to research. And a true TFI operator is somebody who wants freedom, who's willing to do the boring work, like finding auctions, researching properties. And, we're not looking for a get rich quick. We're looking for a dependable path to wealth through real estate. So if you guys can do this year, if you can dedicate 4 to 7 hours a week to tax deed investing, I promise you will get deals. If you put in the elbow grease and research and do a bit of the boring work that most people aren't willing to do and master this proven, unflashy system. We have everything here for you guys on the site, all the videos, no matter what you want to do. You can get this book below. It walks you through it step by step. It is in the the description below. And we want to walk you through this year to finally make this happen, because I just heard about a colleague, very young, early 40s, and she just had like heart surgery at the age of 40. The thing is we never know kind of when the end will come. I keep this on my desk, the sands through the hourglass. And at the end of the day, we all have one of these over our head, and we don't know when this thing runs out. Sadly, if there's going to be, say, 1,000 people watching this year, some people, they're on their last one of these already. And that's just a fact. If 1,000 people watch this, I guarantee probably one person doesn't realize there's only one of these left. There was a terrible fire in Switzerland on New Year's. I think like 40 people passed away. And, they didn't go to that New Year's party realizing that they were on their last one. So we need to take this stuff seriously. And the problem that I see here is that everybody is strategy hopping, right? You're going a million miles wide and you're not doubling down. But the thing is if you just put in some time this year, take this stuff seriously, like if your life depends on it, you will be able to build freedom through real estate. So here's who this is not for, okay? Tax liens and deeds are not for people who are get-rich-quick tourists who are chasing shiny objects, bouncing from one strategy to another. And sadly, that's what most people are these days. Like, ask yourself this question: in 2025, how much time did you spend on YouTube? How many different things did you study and do? And what is the result of all of that time spent? And you could be guilty of this. So you need to make a change. And tax deeds are one of the easiest ways to get started in real estate, hands down. Most of you guys know my story. I was on the oil rig. I was broke, miserable, and depressed. And back then it was way harder than it is now. We didn't have YouTube channels like this. So this also isn't for people with literally zero capital and zero desire to change that. Anybody can put together a couple $100 and get into over-the-counter tax deeds. If you don't have that right now, you can work an extra job, do Uber delivery, do Uber Eats, put an ad on Craigslist, go do some manual labor, get a few $100 to get started. Remember, the more money you have, the faster this can go for yourself. But the unique thing about tax deed investing is there is a starting point for everybody, no matter where you're at. Okay. So as we get this going, appreciate everybody tuning in here on the stream. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up, subscribe if you like this. We are live. We're going to go live a lot more here in 26 as well. And ask me any questions that you have, and we'll dive into it. So somebody's saying here, Orange County. Yeah, there's a lot in Orange County. They're going to be, what do you call it? Like Riverside, San Bernardino are going to be having their sales here coming up. I think it's February normally. So there's lots of opportunity there, and lots of folks who tune into this stream consistently do deals. So guys, if you've done a deal, let me know the deal you've done. People often comment, they've watched the videos and they've done deals, which is cool. So coming back to the TFI operator, and I truly believe at heart, everybody wants to be a total freedom investor, right? That's why we're doing this. We're using real estate as a tool to create freedom. And it just so happens to be a very, very fun, winnable game. But the challenge for most is it doesn't hurt enough. We're comfy. We got our Netflix, we got Instagram, we have TikTok, we have all these things that distract us from our goal. So this isn't for people who kind of blame and complain or collapse under pressure. If you are of able mind, you can do this. We have people from all age ranges, from like age 18 to in their 90s, some folks, in wheelchairs, but as long as you can, have a capable mind, you can do this. In fact, we have some people who come into this and they have cancer and they get into it because they want to leave something for their kids and they want to be remembered for something. So they come into this, and it's, we definitely do our best to help people do that. Like this one gentleman came in, he's like, honestly, I have terminal cancer and I want to leave something for my kids, which is why I want to get into this business. Okay. So this business is also not for people who are looking for a no effort, no money, instant result, or anybody willing to analyze risks and lists. All right. And here's why success in tax lien and deed investing is rare. The reason is because most people these days aren't disciplined. If you want to create wealth or become a millionaire in this business, things are going to need to change, because the version of you where you are right now, sadly, well, not sadly, you need to level up, right? Because if the version of yourself right now were doing deals, you probably wouldn't be on this stream. So you're going to need to change. For example, for myself, when I got into this, I was working in the oil field, and I was living in my parents' basement, spending all my money on just useless stuff. I needed to change. And this is what did it. So part of the problem on my screen here, a investor, we call ourselves the TFI investors, total freedom investors, and you are going to face two enemies in this business and in life, whether it's tax liens or deeds or anything. There are two enemies that are always going to be against you. And unless you conquer these enemies, you are probably not going to accomplish anything in 2026. So we have a lot of external enemies. Banks, okay? Banks are pushing savers, and banks basically punish savers and reward debt. They crashed the economy in 2008 without consequences. They were bailed out by the governments while they kept their multi-million-dollar bonuses. And to add insult to injury, banks are one of the largest investors in tax lien certificates. So as we speak, I guarantee you, some of you guys already have your money in tax lien certificates, because the bank is giving you what, 0.25%. Well, they could be making 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10% on your money, double-digit returns as it is right now. And especially in 2026, we have to battle inflation. Strawberries, blueberries, milk, eggs, everything is getting more expensive, to where your 9-to-5 job just won't cut it as much as it used to. It used to be you could work hard, work your way out of this. You need what I call is a level jump. A level jump to take you into real estate, and tax deeds can do that, because if you find, say, a property 90% below market value, even if you get something for 1,000 and sell it for 10, which is possible. Is it every deal? No. Or a deal that's worth 100 and buy it for 10? those types of deals happen in this business, and that can allow you to jump levels to the next phase. So we have a collapsing middle class, six-figure jobs. They don't provide security anymore. As far as being in a big city, a lot of six-figure jobs disappear overnight. And I say this a lot sometimes. It's like what you think is a secure job, really, there's probably a boss who's looking to replace you with AI right now. There's another thing. And secondly, what you think is a secure job is probably a business owner who's worried every single day, can I pay your salary? So security is a bit of an illusion as far as that goes. So you have these enemies, and I want to put them on the radar for you for 2026. The other thing is the Wall Street volatility. In 2025, we saw over $4 trillion wiped out from the stock market, from people's retirement funds, their pensions, their 401ks, and a lot of their life savings destroyed, while Wall Street still remained possible. Imagine decades of blood, sweat, and tears and savings vanishing overnight. And, for all the money you work for, it's tough. And a lot of folks these days are having to come out of retirement, go back to work, or people are coming out of retirement, going back to work to support their millennials who can't get a job while they're living at home. So as a TFI operator, we're going to work hard. We're going to buy assets that we can control through tax liens and deeds. Now, just as important as the external enemies, we're going to talk here about the internal enemies coming up here right now. Before we do that, I just want to say hello to everybody tuning in. Welcome to the stream here today. We're live, first stream of 2026. Welcome, everybody. If you have any tax lien or deed questions, put them there in the chat. From here, let's see. Oh, and if you have any comments, let me know where you're tuning in from. Today's premise is making 100K per year passive through tax deed investing. We covered the formula a bit earlier, so if you want, you can go back and check that out. Somebody's saying here, finding crazy acreages, $4,000 to $5,000 going up for auction. No houses, just land. Original principal like $100,000. So yeah, there are amazing deals like this at tax deed sales, which is great. So the important thing is to pick something and stick with it. Now, I would tune out noise. I was watching an interview about Steve Jobs and his ability to just tune out noise. And there's a bit of an irony because, the internet is full of noise, but yet the internet has brought you here. And I just want to encourage everybody to pick something and double down. And I'm going to recommend tax deeds be that thing that you double down on here today. So as you go through this, you're going to face two enemies. Internal enemies, in my opinion, are probably some of the biggest demons that you're going to face this year. And internal enemy number one is going to be wanting to quit. The path of wealth creation through real estate, it's going to sometimes feel boring and hard. If this were easy, everybody would do it. Everybody would be millionaires in this business. And sometimes it's going to feel hard. Sometimes it's going to feel like you're going to want to quit. You're going to attend auctions and you're not going to get a property sometimes. You're going to go to bid. Everything will be redeemed. Over-the-counter lists might not be available. Maybe you want to do tax deeds, but you live in a tax lien state. So there's going to be internal enemies that are going to make you want to quit and basically topic hop to where it's like, oh, tax liens sound good, but then Dustin told me I got to go and pick up the phone and make some phone calls to see where these lists are. Guys, this is about as easy as it's ever going to get for you. So another internal enemy is using education as entertainment. So if you've been watching YouTube for years with no deals, then you might be guilty of this. Consumption. I would like everybody to commit to ending consumption without action here in 2026. Okay. The next internal enemy is pointless social media. This is an internal enemy. Endless scrolling, posting for validation, or consumption without a purpose is a distraction, not a discipline. So a total freedom investor, you can use social media as a tool, but not a crush. We don't chase likes or applause. We chase execution, ownership, and real world results, because this year, most people are just going to scroll their life away. And if you're able to put in, say, 4 to 7 hours per week, you can be building wealth on this. On my phone, I have an app. It is called Opal. And this Opal app on my phone here, it's one of the best apps because I use it to block social media. So I have social media blocked on my phone. I give myself 30 minutes, 3 days a week on social media. It's blocked. I have this blocker here on my phone. Try to go into a social media app. For example, if I try to come into Instagram, it just says, boom, blocks it and says Instagram is blocked, but there is a haiku for you instead. It's some cheesy poem, but it blocks me. And I do the same thing on my social media browser or on my web browser here. I have one that blocks Facebook and YouTube. Irony, you're watching this on YouTube. But the more triggers you can remove for social media and asking yourself the question, is what I'm doing right now leading me towards the life of freedom you want? Then you need to be asking those internal questions. And the other thing as well is when you're watching this stuff, remember, motivation is high. Motivation is high right now. And it's about doing what you know you need to do when you know you don't feel like doing it. So back to these enemies that we're facing here. Check it out. So strategy hopping is what most people do when things get hard. The desire to quit will be the strongest right before your biggest deal. A lot of folks are chasing motivation instead of building discipline. And your wealth and your legacy, they don't care about your feelings. You need to make your grandkids proud by taking action today that you know that you don't feel like taking. And that's really the secret to all of this, right? Because we have all of the videos online, 3,000 videos. We have the ABCs of tax lien and deed investing in the description below. If you want, you can schedule a free call with us and we can literally show you where the properties are right now to save you that time. So it's going to come down to action. So those are the internal enemies and external enemies that are in play. For anybody joining us, welcome. We talked about a freedom formula for making 100K per year passive with tax deeds kicking off 2026. Let me know where you're tuning in from, your city, your state, your location, and any questions you have, and I will get to any questions. This is a live stream we are doing right now. We're going to try to go live more, so you know this is not an AI. So I've put together basically like an operating system that if you follow this in 2026, it will ensure you start to get deals. So here's a couple things. A TFI operator prioritizes real estate over hype. Buying tax liens and deeds, real assets backed by property, no speculation, no fantasies. So we prioritize execution over excitement. The average person is just endlessly pursuing excitement and dopamine on their phone. That needs to end. Measuring progress in this business needs to be done through attending auctions, placing bids, and researching properties. It's not exactly glamorous, but it can be fun. When you start to research, you find a good deal. It is a great way to go about making money and freeing yourself from your job here in 2026. We also prioritize strength over comfort. Now, here's another thing. Like I mentioned, these things, I have the sands through the hourglass fading away. And as I mentioned, we never know when we get the last one. But if we're not healthy, we all know things we can probably do to be stronger in our mind and body, because you're going to need mental stamina to be able to do this. And what's the point of making money if you're not in physical fitness enough to go enjoy it with your family? So I'm sure we can all do a little bit more. For myself, I know I need to walk more. I know I need to stretch more. My back hurts a lot. So I need to be more disciplined on that, especially with the sports that I do that just beat up my body, like motocross and jiu-jitsu, mountain biking, snowmobiling. All that stuff really beats me up and I find my body sore. So I'm like, shoot, I need to take that seriously. I don't want to be an old person just hobbling around. And in fact, over the holidays, I was visiting my grandma and she still moves around, but I see so many people in their older age, they're just like, hobbling around, and I don't want that to be me. So spend 5-10 minutes, go for a walk, stretch. If it is an exponential investment into yourself, and your kids will thank you for it. So your health is your true wealth here. in 2026. So here's a path that we've laid out, and these are pictures of us at auction trips as far as going when I made this page. So, preparing your mind to have the physical stamina to do this. If you're smashing sugar drinks and trying to focus, it could be hard. A sharp mind requires a strong body. From here, you need to decide, right? You need to stop spectating and start executing in 2026. Like I said, the best time to start was 20 years ago. The second best time is today. The next one, learn the rules. So this is the operating manual here in the description. Download it and it will show you how to get the rules for every single county and do the boring work this year. Research, analyze properties, analyze lists, prepare bids, check out mock auctions, practice. This is super important to practice. Real estate is the tax lien and deed investing is funny because, when you look at anything you've ever done in your life that has required success, if you're going to be a pilot or a surgeon or, even a bus driver or driving a car, you practice first. And real estate is like, man, Dustin, I got the book. I researched 10 properties and all my properties were bid up to market value. I'm so disappointed. It's like you went to one auction. You researched 10 properties out of millions of properties. We need to build some stamina. And for some of you guys, you might get your first deal at your very first auction. Some of you, it might take 5 auctions. And that's just the way it is. This goes and flows. This is a unconventional way to making money in real estate. And the thing to keep in mind is this averages out over time. So if you do it on the course of a year, it will average out. For myself, I was lucky. I got a property at my very first auction, which was great. And I was hooked and I never looked back. With that, we've gone times where we've went to 5, 6, 7 auctions and we haven't gotten a property. But at the 7th or 8th auction, we've got 7 or 8 properties. So that's a good way to look at it. Now, you need to be placing real bids, okay? You need to get into the arena. Small wins compound. So whether it's buying a cheap tax deed or something else, just get into it. Collect the cash, document the process if you ever want to scale this, refine it, review it, roll the money over to get to that $750K mark. And remember, that was a very conservative approach. Like, sometimes we buy these things 80, 90% below market value. And the example that I gave you, living off 100 grand a year, controlling 1.5 million in real estate for 750K is very, very possible to build your portfolio. And then if you want, you can be teaching this to your kids, your grandkids, or really building that. So everybody here, if you commit to this, it can be possible, but it's the tack in the elephant's ass story, which I love telling. I've told many times over the years. And basically it's a parable and it goes like this. There's an elephant and every single day, this elephant, he sits on a thumbtack. He sits on a thumbtack every single day and it hurts every day. It pinches and then it starts to become a little bit infected, but he still sits on the thumbtack every single day and it hurts. But now the infection starts to spread. The thumbtack has turned into this big infection that starts spreading through his body, but he still starts sitting on it. Finally, it becomes too late. The elephant is, he's down. He's dying. The infection is spread and he's now dying. And all of his elephant friends come around him and let's call him Pete the elephant. And they say, Pete, you sat on this thumbtack every single day in the same spot. Why didn't you just sit somewhere else or move? And Pete the elephant says, you know what? It didn't hurt enough. And that's really what most of us are doing right now is life is very, very comfortable. It doesn't hurt enough. Maybe you're comfy in your job, making 50, 60, 80, 100, $200,000 a year. And it's not that bad. Come home from work, watch some Netflix, cut the lawn, scroll social media, go to bed, do it all over again. But we're really getting boiled alive in this financial system because everything is changing. AI is changing everything so quickly that things that used to take us days and weeks, we can have an AI agent now do the research and do it in a matter of minutes in this business, researching parcels, county lists. And the people who start now, who adopt AI for this are going to have such an advantage. It will not even be fair. Like we used to have, we still have our virtual team, and I started with virtual assistants, and I'd go to bed, and while I slept, they would go through the tax lien and deed list, and I'd wake up and there's the properties. Now, one of our team members in the Philippines, we showed them the AI, and we're like, check this out. Do you know what this means? And they were like, does this mean I don't have a job anymore? And we said, no. We gave it to them, and then now they use it, which even gets us that much faster of results. But you can literally have an army working for you with the power of AI. So, it's super important to start in this business. If you guys are liking this, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up, subscribe. We're going to be putting out a lot of new, fresh content here this year. Lots of new fun videos. We're going to auctions all the time. There's a link below if you ever want to join us at a tax deed auction. And take a screenshot here. We've really done our best to try to put together one of the best free resources for tax lien and deed investors. So that's our goal, is to be unmatched in providing our tax lien and deed community with the most possible free information. And I believe with our YouTube channel with like 3,000 and some videos, and if you guys come over to taxlienschool.com, over here, we've put together the #1 resource. So if you click here on this Knowledge Vault tab, this will take you to the #1 free resource for tax lien and deed investing online, hands down. Everybody should take a screenshot here of this right now, so you know what are the tax deed states, the tax lien, the hybrid states, and the redeemable deed states as well. So take a picture of that. And then from here, the next thing we want to do is scroll down. We have an auction map. Here's auctions that are happening in January right out of the gate. We have Dallas County coming up here in a couple days. A whole bunch of Texas stuff. Galveston, Harris County is a good one. A ton of auctions. Let's see. Washington County, Florida is coming up. Clay County, Florida. Miami-Dade. Lots of good auctions coming up. And anything you want to know. Like, for example, we had a gentleman earlier talk about California. If you just click on California, you can see here it's a deed state. And when you click on this, you're going to go, and we've created thousands of articles on California. Okay. So if you want to go to Kern County or any of the counties, we have it here totally free. Head over to the site, Tax Lien School, and we'll be able to give you as much free information as you want. And then from there, if anybody wants to do a deep dive, you can always schedule a call in the description below, and we can just talk to you and ask you what your goal is and really build you a custom plan if that's something you're interested in. So let's look at some of these questions here and some of the comments coming in. I appreciate everybody coming in. Let's see, we got Montreal here. Let's see, interested, good stuff. Montreal, the what do you call it? The Canadian dollar versus USD. It's perfect. For every $100 US you make, it turns into like $138 Canadian. So you'll be in good shape here. Question: out of curiosity, with real estate prices and interest rates trending downward, do liens and deeds present more opportunities? So this is a good question. And over 22 years now, I've seen this through many cycles, through the 2008 crash as well. And the cool thing is that when the market's good, there's opportunity in tax liens and deeds. When markets are bad, there's a little bit more opportunity because there's more delinquencies. At the end of the day, this is the same reason a lot of folks don't have success or deals in real estate, is the same reason this business is not going anywhere. It's human nature. People are going to be, people are going to be dying. They're going to be having, problems paying bills, and the county needs that money. And a lot of folks, well, not a lot of folks, but people will sometimes be like, oh, this is a predatory business. You're taking advantage of people. And at the end of the day, we're not. If you've ever needed to call a fire truck or drive on a road or a public school or anything, that's the tax dollars at work. That's the system that we are all in. And, when we buy a tax deed property, if somebody is owed, so here's an example. So there's a whole business called tax overages, right? Surplus funds. And this is a business of when a property goes to the tax deed auction. Let's say, for example, there's a $100,000 property. The opening bid is $5,000. Say it sells for 20 grand. That means there is a $15,000 surplus of funds that are available to be collected. But the thing is most people who lost their property at tax sale don't know that money's available. Now there's a whole market out there of going and collecting these surplus funds on behalf of the homeowner and then splitting the profits with them. So we don't do that. It's a pain in the butt industry. There's a few people who really do well with it, but the amount of work you're working for pennies. And the thing is, when you contact somebody who lost their property, you can't come right out and tell them where the money is because they're just going to go get it for themselves, right? So I don't like the premise of calling somebody up and being like, hey, you're owed money by the government, and they're like, oh, where? And then you say, well, hey, let me send you this form and you sign it and then we can show you how to do it. I just don't like that. I'd way rather buy a property. If I bought it for 20, opening bid was 5, I'd way rather say to the homeowner, hey, you're owed $15,000. Go collect that money, use it for a fresh start. The overage. So that's my thought on that one. Let's see here. Found a busload. Oh yeah, Orange County. Keep me posted on how that's going. Oh, we're here in Texas, not Cali. Maybe I need some glasses. Yeah, finding some acreages. Nice. Very good there. Let's see. Once you buy the deed, how do you go about selling it? So remember, when you buy tax deed, the most important thing before you buy it is to have that exit strategy in mind. How do you want to exit this property? Don't buy something just because it's cheap. Buy it if it makes sense. If it's a nice city lot for a few hundred or a few $1,000s, or if it's a nice house, it's going to make sense. So do your research. When it comes to selling it, remember, we want the quick money, not the last money. A big mistake people make, say they buy a house. And remember, a lot of these houses ideally are going to need some repair. They haven't been paying the taxes. They will need some rehab. And that's good. That's what we want, because we want to leave room on the table for everybody to make money at every step of the way. So you buy it dirt cheap, then you flip it quickly to a rehabber. And then maybe, let's say, for example, back to my example earlier, if it's a 100K house, opening bid was 5, I bought it for 20, and it needs, a little bit of fix up. If I sell that thing to a fix and flipper for $50,000 in a couple weeks, boom, I've made $30,000. There's room on the table for him to put money into it and also make $30,000. That's a win-win across the board. The mistake people make is maybe they don't have experience doing rehab and they try to fix it up. And the problem is, if you rehab and put that thing on the market, you're competing with everybody's pride and joy home. And that can be tough. So, I'd way rather turn the money a bunch of times than to, try to do a rehab, unless you're going to keep it for yourself. All right, let's see here. They have places like Homevestors, and they also have independent buyers, locally used. Yeah, Homevestors, we've used them before. Works good. Open Door as well. Let's see. Your goal is to have a 100K nest egg for, older years, 3 rentals, steady income. So yeah, we went over here the 750K freedom formula earlier. You could be making $100,000 per month if you control $1.5 million in real estate that some of you guys could be getting for, a couple $100,000 if you work hard. For example, one of my friends, Brad, he basically, for a whole year, he went to auctions every month. He didn't buy anything for a whole year, went to tax deed sales, and he had obstacles in his way. He was from England. He was living in Canada, and he would drive down to the States every month or fly down, having to go through borders and all this sort of stuff. So there was huge barriers. But in his second year, he bought $280,000 of real estate, he bought $2.9 million of real estate for $280,000. So 10 cents on the dollar, never look back. Let's see. Can you explain the pro plan? So for everybody here, we have the auction calendar. I think we have a week or 2 for free for everybody. And then if you want to see it year long, I think there's different plans. I think it's cheaper than Netflix to do it. I can go check here in a second. Let me see here on the site, the vault and the products. Let's see. We're just pulling that up. Bear with me. under the vault. You guys can come back to it actually. I don't remember the price, but I know I wanted it cheaper than Netflix. So you can go there and check it out. So you can buy a month at a time or a year if you want. We have a whole army of people pulling that information to put it on that calendar for you. One of the reasons this business is so good is it's hard, and we try to make it easier because remember, there are 3,300 tax lien and deed states. There's 1,500 tax deed states, or 1,500 tax deed counties and 1,500 tax lien counties. Every county is going to be a little bit different. So that's why we do these videos. We give away the book here. So this will walk you through it step by step so you can learn the rules of each state and be in the game. Let's see here. Moving into the questions. If you guys are liking this stuff, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up, subscribe, and we're making 2026 happen. Let's see. Can you tell us how to cash out or refi for foreign investors? Recommended legit DCR lenders. Yeah. So that's really one of the best ways to do it if you are a foreign investor, a foreign lender, is to use DSCR loans where the asset can speak for itself. Of course, we're live. That's how you know this is live. I don't think AIs are sneezing at this point yet. So, yeah, DSCR is going to be the way to go. If you guys are a foreign investor, you're going to have to pay a bit of a higher interest rate, maybe 7-8%. But that's a great way to pull money out and go ahead and do it. So if you actually message us if you go to Tax Lien School and just message us, we can put you in touch with some lenders that we have recommended before. I don't have them off the top of my head, but the team can definitely do that here. Let's see. Someone's asking, do we sell hard copies of the book? We used to sell this book. It was $27. It was the best selling book on Tax Liens and Deeds, maybe ever. I think 60,000 copies, but now I just give it away. So you can print it out. It's in the description below. It's a PDF and you can go and do that. I see people, they say copying is flattery, but I see people now at other seminars. They're like, hey, I saw your book, and it's my book in another seminar. So you can download it. You can print it out. We currently do not have hard copies. Let's see. Do you buy in Louisiana? It's pretty complicated. Yeah. I haven't done anything in Louisiana. It is a bit more complicated there with the percentage of ownership, but there's definitely opportunity. And if you're living there, regardless, anybody watching should be going into the county or calling them because it's like practice. So the nice thing is so much of this stuff is online that, sure, Louisiana is complicated, but if you figure it out, think of how much easier it's going to be in another state that's not nearly as complicated. So that's what I would recommend. Practice is so key in this. And that's really a big thing that is discouraging. Everybody wants a quick fix. And so go into the county, just, like we watch sports games, right? People watch sports games. They know the stats on every player on cities they haven't gone to, all these stats on sports and for cities they've never gone to. If you put a fraction of that energy into this 4 to 7 hours a week, learn other counties, go explore. That's how you can create wealth in this business. Let's see. Can I participate in auctions while seated in other counties? Yeah, absolutely. So for example, we go to Harris County, Texas. And what happens is when we're in Harris County is we'll be on an iPad bidding in other counties as well. So you can definitely do this remotely. And for anybody asking, if you guys ever want to join me or my team at a live auction, there's a link below. You can schedule a free call, and it's a very small group. We generally don't do big in-person seminars, but we do small group auction trainings, right? So, a lot of people are like, oh, what's this guy's angle? And this is a business for me. Full transparency, but it really raises all of the waters in the ocean. And I'll explain. So if you never want to work with us, we have all the free information here, thousands of videos, Tax Lien School. A lot of folks just do that. But other folks might want hand-holding help. So that is a business for us, and it ends up connecting me with lots of investors and creates a great community. And it also is a business, and I just put that money right back into real estate as well and to building the best content out there. A YouTube channel is, in my opinion, kind of like a roll of a dice. You see people, they have thousands of videos and they might only have a few thousand subscribers, to where whatever luck of the draw came to be, YouTube decided to give me a channel to grow. And I'm very grateful for the platform, and grateful for you guys tuning in. You know, if I were to travel back in time to myself, 20 years old at that first auction, and show young me, you know, where all this would go, probably ask what happened to all of our hair. But yeah, it's pretty cool, and I'm really appreciative of all of this. Let's see here. Coming back to some questions. Are you buying at the auction or researching the homeowners? Yeah, so we do both. Back in the day, we used to do a lot of door knocking while we were out driving properties. These days, we might send them letters to scoop up properties before the auction, or leave a letter on their doorstep as we go look. We don't really door knock anymore. Just, it can be uncomfortable. I've probably door knocked a couple thousand properties. It's terrifying. If you have the courage to do it, then you can, but also be careful and check and see. There might be some limitations in the state that you're in, but you can send the mail and all that sort of stuff, and that's great. Let's see. Yeah, are you speaking about buying the property prior to the auction? Yeah, so we've done a lot of deals like that. We call that a pre-auction deal, is what we do. Somebody is saying here, can you please explain the redemption period? Absolutely. So check this out. This is where the Tax Lien School Knowledge Vault is the best resource for everybody here, hands down. So come over. So for anybody wanting to learn about this stuff, if you go to Tax Lien School, if you have any questions about tax liens, just come over to the old Tax Lien School here. If you go to Tax Lien School, those are products. Where did we go here? Click on the homepage. Just type in taxlienschool.com. Click on the Knowledge Vault, and this is the free resource for everybody. So the question is, what is, can I explain a redemption period? So anything in red, for the most part, is not going to have a redemption period because it's a tax deed state. When you go to that state, you buy it, you could sell it sometimes even that day. You can sell it quick. Sometimes you might have to wait for title, but there's generally no redemption period. Okay, check this out. Everything in green, all of these green states are tax lien states. Take a screenshot of this. And remember, in a tax lien state, you're lending the government the money for that person's taxes, and your money is secured by the real estate. All right. So tax liens are great. They're more hands off. You get the interest rate, which is awesome, but it's slower. So I recommend, if you have, say, less than 50 grand, start with tax deeds. Flip tax deeds as fast as possible. And then from there, once you have maybe $50,000, $100,000, put money into tax liens so that you're kind of hedged. So here's a perfect example of how you can make big money in tax liens. So remember, tax liens, and I will continue your redemption period question here, but tax liens are super safe. They've, been around for 200 years. 95% of the time they redeem, which is great. So you're going to get an interest rate backed and secured by the government, anywhere between 8, sometimes up to 36% interest on your tax lien, which is very, very cool. So for example, if they redeem 95% of the time, if you buy, say, 20 tax liens on property that are worth $100,000 each, let's say 10%. So you're going to get 10% interest on $19,000. You're going to have your principal back, your $19,000 plus $1,900. Cool. Good interest rate. Extrapolate that. And I want to put $100,000 in. Then you got, or $200,000. You got $19,000 back. If my math doesn't add up sometimes, it's because I did bad in school. You get the drift. So from there, though, back to the 1 in 20, you're going to end up with a property because it is secured by the real estate. So this is important because tax liens are always going to have a redemption. Most tax deeds will not, unless it is a redeemable deed state, which is a few, which I'll get to in a minute. And this is kind of why, this business is a bit confusing, right? It's like, wait a minute, you got tax lien states, you got deed states, but some tax lien states now do tax deed auctions. Some tax deed places like California, I think sometimes is offering tax liens now as well. It's always changing. I'm not, a wizard that knows all 3,000 counties, but we give you the tools here and the book to be able to figure it out. So that's the most important thing, is to understand it. So coming back to the redemption period, if everybody screenshots this on Tax Lien School, We have redeemable deeds, which is going to be Texas, Georgia. We're going to have South Carolina and Tennessee redeemable deeds. What does that mean? Perfect example. Texas auction is coming up here. When is it coming up? A couple days. So in Texas, Texas is a 6-month redemption period. So, but it is also a redemption period with an interest rate. So in Texas, say you go and you buy property, it's worth 100 grand. Say you buy it for 10,000 bucks. You get the deed and you can do whatever you want to it during that 6-month redemption. If it's vacant, you can rent it out. You can start fixing it up if you want. If they were to redeem you, they have to pay you a 25% penalty on that, whether they did it on day 1 or day 180, they have to pay that interest rate. Here's a catch. Always plan to get the property. Most of the time in Texas, they don't redeem. You're going to end up with a property. So anybody who says, they're in it for the interest there, some people do play the interest game in Texas, but it's a much more advanced thing and we don't do that. So you're always, for the most part, going to end up with the property. Don't go to Texas for the interest rate. Go there for the property. But the redemption in Texas is 6 months, and the redemption in Georgia is 1 year. Tennessee, I can't remember. I'd have to check. But that's a redeemable deed state. And then a hybrid state like Florida does both liens and deeds. So anything in orange does liens and deeds. New York, Ohio, Indiana, California are doing both liens and deeds. So that is a rundown on the redemption period there. Good question. Good turnout. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Let's go back here and continue the party. So someone's saying, I bought a tax deed in Tyler, Texas. Should I pull the equity and keep buying, or should I just sell it? So, I'm once again, I'm not a doctor or a lawyer, nor do I pretend to be one on the internet, but I could tell you what I would do is I would refinance and go roll it over and buy more, because if you sell it, you're going to have to pay capital gains and all that sort of stuff. Whereas if you keep it, you can depreciate the asset. There's plenty of benefits to, having legal depreciation. There's a lot of tax benefits to keeping it. You can refinance it. You don't pay taxes when you refinance because you're taking a loan out on the property, and then go buy more and just keep it going. And that property will appreciate and can get you to that freedom formula of 100 grand a year quite quickly. That's what I would do. Let's see. Do you recommend purchasing underdeveloped acreages and then trying to flip them on, say, LandWatch, or parceling it, or selling it off in smaller chunks, or sitting on it and hope that a developer comes? So I wouldn't buy anything out of hope. But there is very, very large upsides in land. And you just need to make sure that you're not buying, complete garbage. You need to ask the question of what can be done with this land. You want to be, You want to be getting comparable, seeing what type of land has sold recently in the area. If it's farmland, how much an acre is things selling for. So land is a great opportunity because there's a lot less competition on land. And if you get the right piece, that's how I got started. I bought 40 acres of land in Washington. I paid $4,200 for it. It was worth 40 grand. I sold it for 20 grand and I made $15,000. And that was at my very first auction ever. So there is good opportunity, but some things to be warned of when it comes to land. Be careful of things that are landlocked. There's plenty of over-the-counter properties available right now in Nevada that are in the middle of the desert. It's literally dirt, cheap dirt, but you can't do anything with it. So beware of stuff that's landlocked. Do your research. Use ReGrid to see where the property lines are as well. If there is an opportunity to develop it, then see what's going on. I can't remember where the interview was, but the guy, he was super rich real estate investor. And the people were like, well, so what's your secret to, creating wealth in real estate? He's like, it's easy. I go to an expanding town and I drive out into the country 20 minutes and I start buying land, and then I wait 20 years. So I know a lot of us don't have 20 years, but land can be great. In Texas or a lot of these auctions, over the counter lots in town, it's not uncommon to buy lots in town for $500, $600, $1,000. It could be worth 5,000, 10,000, 20,000 or more. So there is a lot of options there as well. So great question. Much appreciate that. So guys, we've covered a lot here today. We covered the freedom formula, which I will just recap here super quick because it looks like several people on the stream. If you guys are liking this, do me a favor, hit thumbs up, subscribe, and we're going to have a good 2026, putting out a lot of information to help you get going. So I started this live stream by saying how to create $100,000 per year passive. So we're just going to wrap up here and revisit that formula because I know some people just tuned in. So I called the $750,000 freedom formula, and this is super conservative. Okay. This can assume that you're buying property at 60% of market value. Tax deeds, sometimes up to 90% of market value or 90% off, right? So if you invest $750,000, and once again, most of you guys here probably don't have that, but there's a starting point in this business for everybody. The starting point is, wherever you're at, a couple $100, a couple $1,000, start there. The velocity of money, turning it as fast as possible is key. And once you have, say, $750,000, controlling $1.5 million in real estate, a portfolio of $1.5 million earning 6 to 7% can produce 100 grand per year in passive income. That's not hype. Doesn't include any appreciation or anything like that. It's just super simple math. The upside to this can be much, much higher by the time you factor in appreciation, or if you're getting these properties at 50% of market value, 30% of market value, depending on the deal and the elbow grease that you're willing to put in. So that's what time it is. It's time for everybody here to put in some elbow grease and get started. We're out of the gate. Use that motivation right now to start calling some counties. Everybody grab the directory here below, download it, and start calling Monday morning. Make your list, make your action plan. That's going to be key. Download the book here. That'll help you get going. Or if you want to deep dive super quickly, you can schedule a call. We can show you where the properties are and build you a custom plan. And the thing is, realize it's exciting right now. Realize the motivation is going to fade. It's going to feel a bit boring, maybe a little bit monotonous. But with AI, we can speed all that up. And if you can just stick with this when it feels a bit boring, research property, if you can do what you know you need to do when you don't feel like it, then this business can work. And we're here to help you. So I appreciate everybody tuning in. Let's see. Oh, somebody's question here. Can you give advice on how to buy from the state of Alabama? I went to the state revenue website and requested price quote, yet to get a response. It's been over 100 days. So this is typical. Remember, you're dealing with county workers, right? A lot of county workers might not love their job. However, what's super important here is remember this. Easy information is generally a waste of time. If you want easy deals, we can all go on Zillow right now and find as many deals as possible. The funny thing though is most of the realtors, you can't even talk. Like, this is amazing. If you go on Zillow and try to contact somebody about a property, like, good luck. You're in the phone system, press 1, press 2. Like, the average real estate agent makes like 30 grand a year. And that's why. Generally a terrible infrastructure. So with this rant, if you're wanting, if you're in Alabama, first thing you need to do is get the directory, put in a spreadsheet, all the phone numbers, all the counties. And if it's been 100 days, call a different department. Remember, it's good because if they've been dragging their butt that long, then that is a gatekeeper. And generally, the bigger the gatekeeper, the bigger the deals available. So maybe you have to go into the county physically or call a different department. Don't wait for them. Be proactive. They are a county. They have to respond to you. So do not take no for an answer. Call, email, call back, call a different department. If you can't get through to them, call the sheriff. The more effort you put in, the more money you're going to make. And that's the name of the game. So get the directory, call all the other counties, and let's do it. So guys, if you like this stuff, hit thumbs up. Yeah, grab the book below. You can schedule a call, check out the videos. But this year, put an end to consuming information without action. Let's take action. I appreciate everybody tuning in. And we'll see you here on the next one coming up after the weekend.